Welcome, brothers. Welcome, sisters. Welcome to our program On Target. And you know, as usual, as soon as we start this program, you could pick up the telephone and give us a call. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything. Politics, religion, socio-economic issues, any topical issue of the day. Man and woman in house fighting, any issue, children, we speak about it. And what most important, you could change the subject matter. So you could pick up the telephone and give us a call. The number to call is 4420175. We're on YouTube, Facebook, and Real FM 91.9. Real FM is one of the most powerful radio stations outside St. George's. So everyone should make special attempt and advertise with our program. We could address our issues in Grenada, you know. We could solve our problem. Don't wait on England, America, China. If you're in the country, don't even wait on St. George's. We have with us today in the house a little host. I have to be careful when I say little host, you know. I really mean the host smaller than me. So there's no level of disrespect. We have a sister with us this morning, and you could pick up a telephone and give us a call. Yesterday when we ended the program, we spoke about children in schools. You see, I've been putting a lot of emphasis on women and children. 70% of Grenadians exiting school cannot meet the minimum requirement. We have a factory producing people who is not competitive on the job market. And we have to stop that. The government claims that they're doing a good job. They're spending 11% of the GDP on education. And that is all government, including this one that is a year and months old and not so good. In addition to that, the teachers in the school say it's not them. And the parents say they can't make blood out of stone. But it is unacceptable for us to have an education system where 70% of the children that exit school cannot meet the minimum requirement. I'm particularly interested in anybody that can give us some practical, simple, logical, tangible help. And when we speak in here, we're not so perturbed about parents who succeeding. Because some parents, when the children succeeding, they don't care about nobody. The children doing well. But that 70% that we seem to be ignoring, we particularly paying attention to them. And perhaps they should pay attention to us. If you had the opportunity to advise some parents, some women, let's take the average Grenadian woman. Because 60% of the women in Grenada, they lead their own household. They don't have a man permanently. You know, they're in charge of the household. If you have to provide some meaningful advice, suggestion to women in this category, we can't ignore them. 60% of the women, that is not my statistics, that is reputable organization statistics. They lead the household. What kind of advice you want to give these people? What kind of advice you go give these women? What you tell them? You can't tell them bust the man head because they don't have a man anyway inside you. They don't have a permanent man. They're in charge of the household.
Mr. Pierre, can I intervene? I think it should start in the education system. I think our young men need to be advised about responsibility. Young women, young girls, ladies at school, we are being advised as to how to be a woman, how to behave, what is expected of us. And we exit school and we try to do those things. Young men, on the other hand, they are not, in my experience, and I've never heard of it, of them being taught or being advised on taking responsibility. And I think that makes it very easy for a man to exit school, or a child to exit school, teenage person exit school and then grow into manhood, still with the notion that they do not need to take that form of responsibility. So I think it should start in the education system. The same way it is done for the young girls in teaching them about avoiding pregnancy and the impacts of it, I think it also goes for the males at school.
You feel the males should avoid pregnancy?
They should be advised on, well, participating in a child conceiving. It takes two, the boy and the girl, man and woman. Okay, the woman have to carry the baby, we do know that, but what is the responsibility of the man? Who is there? Who is there behind that male figure to speak about taking responsibility and to see that if they haven't learned it at such a young age, when they exit school, what's going to happen?
If 60% of the women are heading the household because the male are not taking responsibility, the question is, how are we going to advise women to make sure they take care of the gift the man give them? Sometimes the only thing the man learns is how to impregnate the woman.
Well, in that case, I think
I like how you say it. I like how you say it.
Yes, because I am realizing that what happens when
the man must say, "I get you."
Well, but I think, I mean, children, you have DNAs. There are things that can be done to lead to that man, and some form of responsibility need to take place anyway.
Normally, you bring the man up to the court and the court charge the man. But we're not going there.
But what in the case of a schoolboy impregnating a schoolgirl?
If the boy is over 18, you jail him.
But if he's at school age?
If he's at school age, he's a child.
But what is the advice that is being given to him?
Well, you teach him to love. The father might well glad and encourage him to take care of the girl. The father might help him take care of the girl, and the girl might get pregnant again when she's 18.
Well, what about the school system? What do they provide in terms of this?
The school system send them to PAM. When a girl pregnant in the school, they send her to PAM.
But before the pregnancy happens, what is in the curriculum? Do they have?
We have nothing in the curriculum. The girl reached the age where she biological ready. The boy sends the pheromones, and if there is encounters, there is a possibility she get pregnant. It's as simple as that. If she get pregnant, she that get pregnant, not the boy. The boy impregnate her. Yeah. That is the hard course reality.
It takes two.
Yes, it takes two to tango.
Yes.
Then the woman have the baby, and she is expected to carry it on. And then the question is, what do we do as a society to help her carry that baby with dignity, honor, and help her take care of that baby? So even if she become a lone ranger, she in charge of the household and she have 5 or 6, 7 others, she would not lose focus. She would recognize that she have gifts from God and she have to prepare them for war. What do we advise these women to do? 60% of the household are led by women. That is no easy task in a society. 60%. We could speak to the men and encourage them to, but the statistics is the statistics. 60% of the household are led by women. And 70% of the children exiting school are not competitive on the job market. So I blame the women. Straight out, I say, you that cause that. Because you that leading the household. Maybe it is not fair. I'm not here talking about right and wrong and what is fair. I'm just being practical. 60% of our household are led by women. 70% of the children exiting school cannot meet the minimum requirement so they're not competitive on the job market. What could we do as a people, as a country, to change the statistics? To change that statistics. And I'm asking what the woman could do.
Practical advice.
Yes,
trying to give
anything
practical
practical.
advice. I know some women think that they can't do it. They figure, well, they have sometimes 5 children, and they figure that they cannot do it. Now, I don't want to speak on behalf of anybody, because I do not know what it is like to have 5 children with an absent father. But in terms of finances, there are different reasons why women are in that situation, and I think we have to take those things into consideration as to why she ended up with 5 children in the first place without the support of the father.
Sometimes she's very sexually ready. She's looking good and she's productive.
That could be, but it can also be financial deprivation. It could also be education. Oblivious of or totally unaware of, the process of life, her biological cycles. What advice have she been given? What direction has been given to that person? But in saying so, at the same time, I believe that moms, there are a lot of moms out there in Grenada who have a lot of children, and I see how hard they really try with their children to send them to school, to feed them, to clothe them. They work really hard by themselves, sometimes without the support of a father. So at the same time, we have to give credit to those who have those children and still are capable of doing it.
We must give credit to them. And that's why I speak about them so often and so regularly. They may not like to hear the manner in which I speak about them, because you have to be practical. It makes no sense sitting down dilly-dallying and finding out about the man. 60% of our household are led by women. And so some of the percentage that led by man and woman, you have some domesticated man in the house, Lord have helped them. They can't help. Since you see the man in the house, you know it's the woman in charge. So our women have to be the warrior.
So what is the reason that some men stay? Some men take responsibility. Why?
Sometimes some men stay because them is a child, but they want somebody manage them too. They don't want some women.
And that's okay. And that's okay.
Of course, nothing wrong with that.
No.
If you can manage and you get a woman managing you, children, everything, she's still giving you a chance to go down the road and meet the boys and drink a little rum.
Well,
what you want more than that again?
Well, there are different factors that bring about those issues, and they have to be taken as is. We cannot put everybody together, because we do have a number of women out there with a lot of children, but they do seek their best interests at heart.
I was speaking to a sister yesterday. She regularly listened to my program. Her mother had 16 children, and her father had 20-something. And she says her father was a hard-working man, very generous. He was a fisherman, a farmer, but he was a very hot man. Her mother had 16 children. And some of the challenges of growing up in a big family. So it is nothing abnormal for women to have led the household. There are some instances where men went to war, men traveled, men out every day as fishermen. They leave the house 5 o'clock in the morning and they gone out as fishermen. And more often than not, the woman is the main player in the home. But now we have an education system, and the challenges of the job market is changing. So the education system doesn't seem to be helping a significant percentage of the population. So what advice we could give women?
Mr. Pierre, you gave some statistics. Do you have any idea as to what the statistics was prior to the 60%?
No, I didn't know what it was. Based upon my research, I know I don't have the necessary academic acumen to do scientific papers. But those scientists have not taken me on yet. So anytime they challenge me, I'll apologize if it's 69.5%. But based upon my research, it's 70% of the thing. I think the 60% of women in charge of the household, I'm quoting statistics from there's people involved in social welfare. And over 60% of the people looking for jobs in the Caribbean don't have the skills or the talents for the jobs that are available. So we are pretty consistent there. But the answer is, and anybody could give us a call, 4420175. What we can't wait on the government. The government don't make much sense. Yeah. The government program, the government is going to make this statistic worse because their government is hostile towards the elderly. They're hostile towards the physically challenged. Even disadvantaged children was not spared the wrath of the National Democratic Congress. So don't wait on the government. You have to take the bull by the horn. And we have to offer some practical example to our women. What do you do to make certain your children on exiting school have the necessary basic qualification to make them competitive on the job market? What do? You
have to support them.
Yeah, but when you say support them, what you mean?
Well, for example, most recently, I'm not too familiar with the curriculum, the educational curriculum in Grenada. But there are some educational institutions, probably in the Caribbean and abroad, that when a child is going home on holiday from school or on vacation from school, some of the schools would provide extra work for the children to do at home. So whether you have to say, okay, that child read 15 minutes every day, just 15 minutes, you listen to that child read every day, or you do 2 mathematics problems, you write something from English, and you see that it is done. So the parent have to see that it is done. And I can understand that some parents may not understand what the child is doing, but the parent can also take that work and ask someone who has the capability to double check it for them as the child is working along. So whatever they have completed for today, you can ask a child, an elder child, or someone else who has the capabilities to double check to see if that child work is correct. So just ensuring every day that this is done, the repetition would help them, at least when they go back to school. And it would probably also give the parents some form of insight into how to probably help that child as well. But more so in speaking but you would help to re-emphasize a lot at home during the vacation. So by the time they go back to school, they have that motivation again to pick up from where they have left off.
That is practical, and I like that idea. So the teacher give extra work for the child to do on the school, and it is in collaboration with the parents.
Yes.
The parents
have to see that
to see that work is done.
Yes.
And I like the part about reading.
Yes, 15 minutes.
15 minutes reading a day.
Yes.
So that is something practical that we are offering to Grenadian parents. Even if the school doesn't give you, you perhaps have to have the discipline to try to get your child to read 15 minutes a day. What part of the day is the best time for this reading?
From my experience, it's morning.
Morning time.
Reading and maths is in morning.
So you get up in the morning and you try to get your child to read for 15 minutes before you start the normal activities in the day. And if nobody don't give you anything to read, maybe you could read the Bible. Yes, scholar, welcome. Yes, scholar, welcome. Glad to have you on.
Good day. Very nice program. Very interesting program. I would like to know your guest, but your guest seems to have some experience in that field as well. I heard what you say about the extra work. But what I want to ask is, what about the parents what came about by accident? You have some parents what accidentally become parents. In those cases where you have grandparents had to act in that role. Their grandmother and they still have to act as parents because their daughter become a parent unexpected.
By accident.
In that case, how would that work? That means the parents don't reach a parent as yet. They're still young in the field. They didn't expect him. They get pregnant by accident.
I think that the best thing for you to answer this one. What's about the parents who get pregnant by accident?
As I said before, there are different factors and each have to be considered separately. So when you say by accident, how can someone become pregnant by accident? What do you mean?
Well, what do you mean when you say the child gets pregnant by accident? Caller, you gone? All right, the caller gone. Well, I think he's speaking about unplanned pregnancy. So it's the same way that the girl in school, she looking good, the boys fine, she looking good, and while they're playing, they did go farther than they expected, and she get pregnant. A man go home the last time, he tell his wife he have an accident. When the wife find out he breed a woman, he says it's an accident. So men does have these accidents.
Well, education
can stop accident.
So isn't it an accident from the man as well?
Well, education can stop accident.
No, but this is what I'm saying, Mr. Pierre. But yes, you think women should take a lot more responsibility. But I think in leaving out the men, we are doing them a disservice by leaving them out, because some of these men, some of them do need help for themselves. Some of them do want to be parents. Some of them do want to take that form of responsibility, but they do not know how. Some men, when they try to take responsibility, they
heavy-handed.
They are being ridiculed by the other peers who do not take responsibility, right? They call them weak. They call them vulnerable, when that man tried to stay and support his family. So that man in himself who really wants to, but how he feels, how he is attacked, how he is described in the community for taking responsibility. Someone like this, he himself needs some help. He's in some form of support. So I think we need to include the men, regardless
Do you think we should encourage more young people to get married?
Of course.
You get pregnant, get married.
Of course. And I believe that, as I heard, I'm not sure, it has been rumored. For me, I have to say it has been rumored because I do not have too much of a concrete evidence about the LGBT community being taught in schools. As much as this is out there, I am not hearing any rumors about promoting family life between
man and woman.
Men and women.
So you believe one of the practical things we could do is to encourage the young men to get married with the women?
Yes, and I
You say this yes as if without conviction in it.
No, because what I'm talking about, I remember at school when they taught us, I think it's ARI, religious education or so, and they were telling us about marriage and so forth. But in recalling now, a lot of it was predominantly towards the women.
Yes, they want you to preserve your virginity for your husband.
Yes.
Don't go having sex until you get married.
And to be in the home and what you need to do and to be the peacekeeper in the home. And just thinking about it now, yes, I went to a girls' school, but still that should not stop them from letting us know the responsibility of the men or the man.
You see, people always preoccupy with a man. I try to react to the statistics because 60% of the household are led by the men. So no matter how you try to get the man,
60%
are led by the woman. So it don't make sense making nice via the man because the woman have the burden, they have the responsibility to lead the household. And 60%.
Mr. Pierre, I genuinely believe that in Grenada society, majority of the men do want to take responsibility, but they are afraid. And I think they need support and they need help.
I like you for that. We afraid.
Yeah, but afraid of what? I mean,
that is the problem.
The fear factor. What is causing the fear?
Yeah.
I mean, you are adult male. You had your journey. I'm sure you've heard other people's stories. What do you think that fear can be? Do you have any idea of any?
I think
factors?
society do not encourage marriage, so more people should get married, and you have to encourage and support marriage. It's not only saying you get married and women must have children. Sometimes women don't want to have children, and that could cause serious problem in relationship. In addition to that, the job market has changed significantly. We have much more for women working now. So there seems to be less time for childbearing. So we don't have much more homemakers. And the word housewife seems to be an obscene thing now. So a lot of dynamic has changed. So I want to that is why I put so much emphasis on the statistics, the reality, that 60% of the household are led by women, and what could be done. I'm not completely leaving out the woman, but I'm saying the woman is responsible for the role the man play. So you have a home, we say one, we go back to the school. So we're taking this one. During the holiday session, women should encourage their children to read for 15 minutes. And it would be nice if they lobby the schoolhouse. Yes, caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome. It appears we lost this caller. Try again. Caller, try again. So if they lobby the schoolhouse to give them work so they could collaborate with children do. But what else could be done? Yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre, yes, you're doing good work. You're doing a good work.
Yes, caller.
Mr. Pierre.
Yes,
you're
welcome.
doing a good work. You're going to work. Good work.
Yeah.
This morning I hear the minister saying they don't know, they only hear in talk, they want to bring gay in school, but I know he lie.
Yeah, I think the minister and a couple of them seems to be gravitating to the gay culture.
No, they're shame. They're saying they don't know where this start coming from.
No, they know it
coming.
coming
The union takes step now. The union thinks so they say they shame now.
Yeah.
Okay, have a good day.
Yeah, I think a few of the males in the NDC is suspected of gravitating towards the females. So as a result of that, they will be more sympathetic to the cause of this alternative sexual lifestyle.
I can't do Sheldon, they full in their pocket, God, they know they won't come back.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Scholar. So what could we do? Because it makes no sense. We're running remote and we're advising people what to do. Our children are not meeting the basic requirements. Some people argue that when the children enter school by 5 years old, they are profiled. They say that can learn. That can make it. So what could a woman do to help her child to be better prepared for education? And I believe, what about the church? What's about making certain your children go to church? You think the church could help? It's a challenge one. You see, if we don't know, if we're not getting result, we must brainstorm. We want discussion on this subject matter. You can call about politics, but call me about that one too.
But I think that it also is happening in the church. So it's not only happening outside of the church.
Yes, but do you believe that if more of our young children go to church, that might help them to settle down in school?
You can, yes, but at the same time, you still need a resourceful support system.
You don't need no resource to go to church. The church close by, they say the children have enough clothes. You get up on a morning, you put on your clothes and you go to church.
But what would the church do?
Well, when you reach the church, you're not in the church, you know. advocate that the church must have programs to help children. Because what we have is a lot of our young children, particularly the males, not going to church. The women not going to church.
But Mr. Pierre, the same thing I was saying. You have particularly the males at school not being taught and being advised about
Who
taking
teaching the males in the
responsibility.
school? The whole school is women, you know. Women in charge of the school
So
system.
you see, that could be a fear factor, that women keep uplifting themselves at school, like they uplifting themselves educationally, while majority probably of the men.
Why do you think they're going after the women? Our school is dominated.
But when women are empowering themselves and the men are not, then we have this divisive system where it would appear to the man who is not uplifting himself educationally or in that matter, feeling that this woman now is probably too much for him.
Because the schools are dominated by women. More than, and I don't know, but I wouldn't surprise if 80% of the teachers in Grenada are women.
But there was a time it was very much balanced. So
yes, but now it's unbalanced.
We still were not taught. And
that is why I asked
we still were not taught that.
What women could do. So if we send our children to church, if we encourage little children, make certain that they go to church, do you believe that might help a little bit?
Mr. Pierre, we still have a lot of women, young girls who are going to church, and it is still happening there. So what would
you believe they should discontinue?
I just believe that children spend majority of the time at school. Children believe a lot in their teachers more than their parents, right? Teachers get through to children more than you would get through to a child.
But the teachers are not getting through.
It's always
yes,
what
scholar, welcome. Yes, scholar, welcome. Yes, scholar, welcome. All right, we missed that caller. 70% of the children in Grenada, the teachers are not getting children. The teachers tell them, go and get their parents. 70%. So you see, while we say the teachers, 70% of the children that attend in school, they cannot meet the minimum requirement, and the teacher give up.
What are the different factors?
So what could we do to advise parents? Do you think if parents encourage their children to learn music by the age 5? Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, good afternoon.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
Yes. The problem in our society is that they redesign the educational system in order to fail in society. The men have more terrible skills, and there are lots of men are not academically inclined. What they do, in the past they used to teach things like woodwork and so in school. But now everything is academic. So if you're not learning from that standpoint, they see you as a failure and they push you out of the system. They tell you you're a failure. But if they start teaching woodwork, auto mechanic and all them things, and you don't wait for secondary school, right? It has to be in the primary schools. So what they are doing, the system is designed to make sure that the women succeed and the men fail, because there is a plan to put women ruling over men. And that's the reason why you see in the book of Isaiah chapter 3, it says that the time will come when 7 women will take the hand of one man and beg him, tell him, let us carry your name. We don't want your bread or your clothing. We would feed ourselves and clothe ourselves. Let us just use your name. Right?
So that man gladly taking advantage of them then?
Yes. That is what is happening. The system is deliberately designed to fail young men in society. So have a good day.
All right.
Thank you.
So what should we do to change these dynamics on the ground? What could we advise our women? What actions our women could take to help to change these things with a child? Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yeah, my brother.
Yeah, happy belated birthday, man. You're a fellow Leo like me.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. On your topic this afternoon, very informative and very thought-provoking, right? Now, what I will say, since my time at school, going primary school, going secondary school, and college, the challenge for young men is always being accepted by females and their peers. It's always a challenging game because we're always competitive, right? You are so correct when you say females are leading the household now because they're looking for gender equality, equal pay, equal rights. Right now you have ladies driving bus in Grenada. That was never a thing of the past. You have ladies driving trucks in Grenada. That was never a thing of the past. You have ladies riding bike in Grenada. Harder than men. That was never a thing of the past. So we now have to come to grips that equality is for one and for all. And once you understand that, I'm a teacher in school, and I ain't saying gender equality should not be one for all and every all should understand it, but we need to come to the place of realizing that everybody may not excel in one game or another game. So in other words, there can be an electrical engineer that's a female, and a male cannot do that. There may be a welder that's a male and a female can do that, and so forth, so forth. You understand what I'm saying, Mr. Pierre?
Yes, scholar.
Right, so with that said, secondly, I have noticed something today. I have heard on a particular program that an individual is calling for the teachers that was in a certain seminar to be identified. Right? I'm going political. That person is calling for a teacher or teachers who bring forth certain things to the teacher union president. They want to identify them. Now, if that is not discrimination, I don't know. But Mr. Pierre, good program. You and your co-host are doing very well. Have a blessed Thursday afternoon.
Thank you.
Yes, and I would advise the teachers in the host not to identify themselves. The teachers are represented by a union. And if the teachers have challenges, they take it to the union. And they should not identify themselves. You know? But we listen what the gentleman say.
Yeah.
What could our women do to make certain that the children are more competitive on the job market? Give us a call. The number to call 442-0175, and we'll try to read some of the posts on Facebook. What you think our women could do? We want to advise, give them practical advice. Do you believe that if we teach our 5-year-old to learn music, to play musical instrument, that may help them? What do you think about that? Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr.
Yes, my caller.
Good afternoon to your host.
Yeah.
Hello.
Well, Mr. Pierre, what I think the young people of today should do better is if they got the main training from small. Because when I used to go to school and school give holiday, my cousin husband used to do tailoring. The house used to be full with young men learning to sew. He had garage. He used to see young boys going in the garage and learn mechanic. And other places, some going in shop. And I had a son or two what used to go in Grand Coda. They had a program for them during school. And after the holiday, they used to give them a little stipend, but they learn something during the holidays. So whatever they learn, if they keep it, when they go to school, they used to go in the center, or they used to call the place, and learn other skills. So if they learn from small, by the time they reach in secondary school and they have that type of, you have to say, subject teaching, they like woodwork and home economics, clothing and textile and all these things. A lot of children used to be going there and learn, and they do that as CXC, and then they get it and they go in college and they empower themselves.
Yes.
Some parents stick with them and make sure that they visit the class, and when the children come home, you watch the report book to see how they're doing in the subject. And if you find this, you have certain subjects that you find they're not doing good, you need to call them together, you find a thing, then the teachers used to make you come in the school as parents to see how your child doing. And when you look at the report, they will tell you, well, this child not doing good in maths. If you don't like maths, he might like another subject. Put him in another subject because they used to choose the subject. I used to tell my children, don't mind you don't like the subject, try to do it and make sure you pass it, because sometimes you must get a certain amount to go in college. And not what you like is what is teaching you how to put yourself there, because like you saying, you don't know what you're going to get when you leave school. You have something better, you have a skill. And if even though you don't have a CXC, but you have skills you could do, and maybe you are self-employed later on to come. So that I see that, like young mothers, think when you get pregnant, when we go to clinic, the nurse used to show you how to handle the baby, how to care your breast and care yourself. And when you make the baby, how to take care of the baby, how to hold the baby, to bathe the baby, how to feed the baby, and what you must do. They used to educate us in that time.
And then you have to go and show the man what you know study?
There you go.
the man didn't used to go.
There you go.
So then one friend to hold the baby.
They used to go, and whatever they learn, they keep it up to themselves. Sometimes they explain to their partner. Every partner have understanding, listen, and some of those men don't want to hear nothing when they tell them about this condom or how they call it. He cussing and saying because they want to go elsewhere. That's why you're having this thing and whatever it is. Some was very ignorant at the time.
So I like to say somebody man does it.
It still is.
So that's far as I could go for today, because
yes.
other person might want
Thank you very much. So what could our women do? Because we have to be able to point out practical, simple, logical solutions.
So how about the women? Start with the women in the health clinics and in the hospitals.
I like the one in the health clinic there. You don't know man there?
Start with
when a woman pregnant, she'll bring the man in clinic?
As the lady, we want to see the man. You have to find a way to get the man to come in.
In the clinic?
Yes, we have to find a way to get the man to
come
in.
So is the man not pregnant then?
No, but...
So then the man go inside the one in nursery?
Okay, so you know something, then men should not go to school. Then we don't need men going to school.
Well, no, talking about you get pregnant, you want a man going to clinic.
Because if you're not prepared to teach them this form of responsibility, and women alone should take on this form of responsibility, then don't admit men in school.
So
and just teach the women.
So what we need to do, you almost remind me of Afghanistan, Afghanistan banned women from school, They have 51 new bans against women,
And they empower
They don't ban the men,
But they empower
They ban the women. So now a woman pregnant and she go to the nurse, and the nurse give them all sort of information about how to take care of the child.
Yeah.
Right? And she now is supposed to go and impart some knowledge to she man, if the man have sense. Because not all men have sense in these things. Is it a fair reply?
Yeah, not all men.
Some men don't want to involve in these brittle things, these technical brittle things about you're pregnant and how to touch your belly.
And then we go back to the question as to why it started from small.
Right. So now you have the kid, and then you went to hospital. About how much time a woman go to clinic? Is about 5 times? If under normal circumstances,
it depends. Yeah.
She might go about 5 times. Because the first 3-4 months she might not go. She might go in water more than flour.
And Mr. Pierre, she did everything herself, right? She took her blood test herself. She did her samples, her urine samples herself. All other samples, she did it herself. She got on the bus. She did what needed to be done.
No man involved in.
No men are involved. Right.
And then she come and carry that child for 9 months.
9 months. Sometimes she's in labor for how many hours by herself. Right? And that child is born healthy.
Right.
But I think at that point, that the woman holds the fort. She would sing to that baby. She would clap the baby's hands.
Rockabye baby on the tree top.
Yes, put that baby to sleep, right? Read stories to the baby or tell, Nancy stories to the
And sometimes no man involved.
Still no man is involved. But when that child starts school,
man coming around again.
Somehow that breaks. Somehow that relationship of the storytelling, the counting, the nursery rhymes and stuff, that breaks. And I think because somehow a lot of parents think that has now become the responsibility
and
of the
sometimes the man come around and he start to distract her again. The man come around now, he want her for time.
But at times after the first one, the clinic do advise them, but advising the woman. But Mr. Pierre, sometimes when the woman goes at home and she tries to use preventative methods, She encounters
The
problems
sex
with the
is
financial.
for procreation and socialization. So there are some schools of thought and some religious belief that do not advocate prevention.
But what's in the
And some men are strong. No prevention.
There we go. So
We
what?
don't want prevention.
So
we
what-
want to procreate.
So what position that woman go to?
Then why not think about getting married?
But what you cannot hold on a man to marry
You
him.
can hold on a man, but you could woo him, encourage him.
Okay, that should start in the school.
In
That
school,
should have started in the
you
school.
go back to the school again.
That should have started in the home. You have to teach your young boys. You have to teach. Of course, you have to go back in the school, because the reason why a lot of the women, especially those who are like, submissive women, Grenada has a lot of submissive women. Well, I do not know for now, but I know back then Grenada had a lot of submissive women, and you try to please that man, and what do you expect her to
Women
do?
always try to please.
But
men.
when the man is
It doesn't matter what society you go.
But when the man is the financial provider.
Man is a hunter. Caller, welcome.
Yes, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother, welcome to the topic.
Yes, and I must congratulate you, Mr. Pierre, in having the lady voice with you.
It's always good to have a lady.
Yeah,
God make them to help domesticate man.
that's right.
Yeah.
And she's making a lot of sense.
Yeah.
A lot of sense. We need more of that.
Thank you.
More of that. Congratulations to you, ma'am. I don't know you, but congratulations. You are holding a very, very good position at this point in time.
Thank you very much. Much
appreciated. Very, very good. Mr. Pierre, am I to believe or to hear that they said that the government personnel are doubting the fact that a class was kept and teachers were told about teaching homosexual in school and the president of the teachers union did said to the nation that he was told by teachers. Am I to hear that officials are doubting that didn't happen?
I hope you're not surprised. These people have told so much lies. In over a year, this government has told so much lies. You should not be disappointed or surprised if they lie.
Well, I will be disappointed, and I am disappointed to know that the president of the teachers union can go openly and say that he was told by teachers, and for the ministry of our personnel, I don't know if it's the ministry or if it's a minister who has, but for anybody to doubt the fact now, something has to be wrong. I don't think teachers could be so mad because the president didn't say a teacher. He said teachers who attended the training told him that. And for teachers to tell the president that, and for the authorities to doubt it now, something has to be thoroughly wrong.
If you notice, the authorities are doubting something totally different from what the teachers union said. The authorities is saying they have no intention of passing laws. They add the word law. These people are twisters of the truth.
Well,
so you don't have to pass a law
No.
to introduce a subject matter in school.
That's right.
So what they're saying,
and what we heard from the principal, from the union leader, he never talked about passing.
so they're not doubting what the union leader said. What they're doubting is they have no intention to pass laws.
Yeah, but they should be doubting what the union leader said because that's where we got the official.
Oh, they could do the truth. They can't face the truth. They have to tie the truth on them. They can't face it.
If it's proved that teachers did told the president that and any authorities doubting it now, I'm saying that is not.
Well, the teachers never said that government intend to go to parliament to pass a law.
No, that was not said.
But what the government is doubting, that they have no intention of passing law.
But nobody told them about law.
Nobody don't tell them about law, but they like to plan. So they plan this thing.
I'm hoping that is not so because if we go to
You're still hoping that is not so?
Yeah, because if we're going to break that relationship with teacher and union,
you are Gotsman and Boli to hoping. You're hoping they don't lie.
Because I mean, we can go ahead with that.
My brother,
When you're wrong, you must grown up and
Remember the National Democratic Congress. Quickly. They do it to 2020. Why they would stop? The Prime Minister said go rent to plane. If by December they don't handle to go rent to plane. Then the Prime Minister said that plane had to have a license. You have to have a license for bike. A big man, the Prime Minister, don't know you have to have a license for plane. The Prime Minister say he can't rent plane again because you have to have permission and the plane have to have license. You have to have license to ride motorbike in Grenada. You go with big plane with people in it. You don't know you have to license plane and insure it and get permission to. So the government like to tell some lies. Yeah. What could we do? What could women do to make certain that children on exiting school have the basic education and are more competitive on the job market?
Women can come together as well, and probably go to the government as well. They could probably come together and put forward their issues.
Put forward proposals to the government.
Yes.
But what could they do at the home? You see, we're shifting this pendulum. We're not blaming America and England and China. We're not blaming the government and we're not blaming teachers. What could women do?
Well, help them to believe in themselves. Help them to believe that they can do it. Help them to believe that by just investing some time in the children's education can really help. It's making them, convincing them that they can do it. The children are learning at school. They just have to ensure that when they come home, you don't put the book down. You have to see to it that the child have to pick up that book at home. That child needs to do a maths at home. Write an English sentence. Do some spellings.
Read for 15 minutes every day.
Yeah.
Even though they read the Bible for the mother.
Any form of reading.
While the mother cooking, let the child read the Bible.
Yes.
Even though the mother can't read for herself.
Yes.
Yes, scholar, welcome. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Good evening. Great program, Mr. Pierre, and to your guests. Wonderful program. But I think what we're missing is groups, community groups. In most cases, children that is academically inclined. But if you get the community together and you bring boys, I tailor a mentorship program tailored strictly for boys. I think that will help in bringing our boys back. So I think we need to form different groups, whether it is musical groups, tennis groups, and take some programs to our boys. So thank you and continue the great program.
Yes, scholar, thank you. The caller made another suggestion. We must have community groups, mentorship groups. You can have groups in the village to help children with homework. In the same way all the men pack up in the shop drinking rum, the women could ask the men, what are you a man for?
You're going back to the man again, Mr.
Well,
Pierre,
yes,
after he was not.
But the woman would have to take the initiative. You see, it's what the woman could do. The women could ask the men. The child is struggling with homework. Couldn't you get some of the people to help your child with the homework?
Well, you said it's the woman that got
Yes,
pregnant,
it's
not
the
man.
woman that have to do it. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Yes, good afternoon.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
Yes, it's good program. But what I'm saying is that I heard you talking about to married. Married is good. It's good to married. But even though you're married and they're in the home, and the prevention they're using towards pregnancy, they could still end up in a deep poverty lining because Bangla children could be making and more hunger taking place. Think about that.
Yes, true.
All them people who have plenty children, well, glad they make the plenty children.
Mr. Pierre, that's why you have to have control on between the man and the woman. Supposed to have some control to be able to know how they were able to maintain the children or that they bring forth in and whatsoever. So because you can't just keep on making ho-to-to, and you don't know where you stand. That is bad. And that is failure what has happened to a lot of people. So marrying is good, but you still have to have that prevention, that certain way how to make it with the children. Right? So good afternoon.
Yes, so this gentleman is concerned about the amount of children. How much children you find is enough? How much children you
It
find
doesn't
is
matter.
enough?
Sometimes you can have one and you still do not have the ability to help that child at school. You can have two and you still do not have the ability. So sometimes I do not think it's the amount of children, because there are lots of children, sometimes 5 in a household, who grew up to be very talented in many different ways, very educated, knowledgeable. They go on to be teachers, lawyers, you know. And sometimes their parents do not know how to read and write. But something had to be done to encourage these children to become a better version of themselves.
Yes, so I don't think it's the number of children, and we are not we encouraging Grenadians to make children because the population have not risen in any significant way. So it's very important for people to make children.
Yes.
And if you want to control the amount of children you have, you don't have to use condoms or the other methods. There's another method called the Biddings method. And the nurses in the medical station know about it.
Mr. Pierre, would you
The
like to
Biddings method.
Would you like to enlighten the
Well, with time all coming very close, but there's another method called the Biddings methods that you can use, and that you could control the number of children you have. But some people, because of their religious belief, would not use condom or any preventative methods. And another method, and people could help to teach. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, good afternoon.
Yes, Pepper.
The government of today's day, they complain about how much children the people making and why they don't able to mind the children what they're making for themselves. You don't hear that?
The government just bad-minded and selfish.
Yes, but in everything, control is good.
We don't have enough children in the Caribbean. Guyana could take a few million. Dominica could take a few thousand. Grenada could pick up a 40, 50,000 in the next 5 years. Grenada population have not risen in the last 100 years.
Yes, but when one household have so many young children growing up.
Long ago was 10 and 12 and 16 and 15 in a household. And a lot of the parents who made a lot of children long ago, they well glad.
What the maintenance have to be.
I come from a family at 12.
And what's about the maintenance?
Well, it was good. One amount of food and help and support.
Check what's selling now. Everything is sky high with price now. Check that out. And they don't burn in wood them going in them stove again, oven again.
Now we don't have time for wood again. We have stove.
And fireside.
And our gas is just about $40, so you don't bother about that.
But you have a lot of people cry out to buy a cylinder.
People crying out to buy everything. That don't mean that they have 5 pairs of shoes and they're crying out. They have 2 cars in the house and they're crying out.
Yes.
Yeah. So we could make some more children.
But you have a lot of meeting a lot of pressure to manage what they have.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, thank you very much. And as we come to the end of our program, we obviously have to come back to it. What could our women do to make certain that the child you make leaves school with a basic education and is more competitive on the job market? I hope we have our host with us next time. Thank you very much.